For today, we're talking to former Mayor Richard Fulton, who is also a candidate for the same position in Nashville in August of this year. Is that not correct?
That's true. August the 5th.
August the 5th. And of course, what we'd like to do during the second segment is to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the things that you believe to be important in Nashville. We've had an opportunity to say some words about schools, but let's say something about downtown development and entertainment, because I think Nashville has sort of taken on the position of being ready to do a lot of entertaining downtown, as well as our sports activities.
Well, yes, of course, when we talk about downtown Nashville and the entertainment, I very much am associated with that, because it was during my first term in office that we decided we were going to do something about 2nd Avenue, restoring those historical warehouse buildings, turn it into a tourist attraction as well as an attraction for local people, and to do something with Broadway, and that's when we built the Riverfront Park. We helped, or I helped recruit the Spaghetti Factory that was the first restaurant to go in business on 2nd Avenue, and played a major role on widening Commerce Street and building the convention center there. You mentioned the hole in the ground. I was known as the Holy Mayor there for a while, because we went ahead with building the convention center when there was some opposition to it, but as a result we have a convention center that has never cost the taxpayers of Metro Nashville a dime, because all of it has been paid for with the hotel motel tax. The continued growth in the downtown area is extremely important, and we're seeing now a 287 apartment building on at the corner of 6th and Church. There's proposals for another unit to be built at 5th and Church. Whether or not that gets off the ground, I don't know. But aside from what is in the center of the city, like Church Street, Commerce Street, Dedrick, I'm also very interested in what happens within the area of the inner loop, the interstate highway that surrounds the Germantown area, some of the North Nashville area, that takes in the Rolling Mill Hill, Rutledge Hill, the Railroad Gulch. I think all of that is important to Nashville's continued growth. You know, if you ever allow the core of an apple to become rotten, first thing you know, the entire apple is rotten. So we have to make sure that the core of our city is healthy and vibrant. So it's, and what you mentioned, sports.
Yes, sports.
Sports is so important. You know, you remember Coach Ed Temple was on the committee that we established in 1985 to seek the 1996 Olympics. At that time, we didn't know exactly how they made their choices, but we found out, unfortunately, that there were some things that were not above board. But out of 13 cities that made an effort to get the 96 Olympics, Nashville came in 4th. A lot of people laughed at us when we went after the Olympics, because we didn't, you know, we're not what you call a big city, and we did not have a stadium at that time and some of the other attractions that were needed. But as a result of a good positive approach, we came in 4th out of 13 cities that applied for it, and out of that effort, we were able to create the Sports Council. And the Sports Council, which of course Ed Temple is very much an important role on that council. As a result of that, we have the National Hockey team here. We have an NFL football team. We've had numerous track events. We've had women's basketball. We've had ice skating shows at international or national shows. So sports is, plays a major role, and I can't wait to see that Goodyear blimp over our stadium, advertising all over the country and in some parts of the world. The fact that Nashville is a big league city.
And so you think that you can continue that kind of growth and that kind of development for the city of Nashville. But now, what about those who would oppose such development and such growth?
Well, of course, there's always people that are opposed to change. When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, there were those that opposed that, because, and it was the candle manufacturers, because they felt it would be the end of the candle business. But there's tens of billions of candles sold today, but they're sold for a different purpose. I think we have to adapt to change. Change is inevitable. We just have to make that change work for us in a very positive way. I don't foresee any major projects such as the stadium or such as the arena, but I do think that we have to continue to grow. If we ever pull over to the side of the road and put ourselves in idle or turn off the motor, the first thing you know, we're going to be going backwards, and we need to keep moving forward. We just try to, we just have to make more of an effort to have good, controlled quality growth.
You know, Mayor, one of the important elements in the campaign has to do with the Human Rights Commission. I think that there's been quite some discussion in reference to whether or not that commission has any real power and et cetera. Let's have you during the last part of this second segment to deal with that in affirmative action and that kind of information.
Well, the affirmative action program we started when I was mayor, the human relations, Fred Cloud was the director for human relations, and I believe we had 3 people there at the time. And this was over 12 years ago, and there's been such tremendous growth in Nashville, population growth, and I think there's only one person assigned to human relations at this point. As mayor, I will enlarge the size of the human relations office and make them more responsive to the needs to create a better understanding among all walks of life. It's needed even more today than it was years ago, because we are becoming more and more of an international community, and with over 70 different ethnic groups now living in Nashville. So I think it's imperative that we have a much more affirmative action program and a much improved public human relations program.
You know, I think the topic of youth and youth violence has almost separated itself from all of the other topics that we generally associate that with. Generally, we talk about youth in schools and et cetera. But let's say something in reference to youth violence and over the last minute that we have before this upcoming break. Let's give you an opportunity to talk about our young people, not necessarily about violence.
Yeah, I'll go back to education, because one of the things I'm proposing is that we have a requirement that every teacher take 2 or 3 minutes out of a classroom period to talk about honesty, to talk about trustworthiness, to talk about respect, to talk about responsibility. Unfortunately, many of our children or our students are not getting that taught to them at home. And I'm not talking about teaching religion. I'm just talking about teaching some basic
civility.
That's right. To where these young people can know that they have to respect each other, and they have to be responsible. They have to be good citizens if they're going to enjoy a good life.
Yes, well, good. And of course, we are coming up, Mr. Mayor, to our second commercial break, and we'll have about 6 minutes after that, and then we'll talk about housing and a number of other things that I know that you're interested in, and then we'll call it a show for today. But in the meantime, we'll be back with our audience within the next couple of minutes.